December 8, 1941. I'm just 11 years old. That morning we went to church with my twin brother, and we about 7-8 o'clock when the 8 o'clock mass started. Their information, we have it from the radio. There's a radio right next to us because that's our house that was rented as a store, and they have announced me that the Japan plane came in Sumai. So at church everybody was in there. Then the priest heard that's a war. But we were all in Nagane, where Bilibid is right next to the Agana now for the village. That's where our house close to, because the school and it's very close to the beach. So then my mother gave us information that get all the can of toast bread and the can of cake, because we usually bake during weekend, but that weekend it was Santa Maria Camalins Day, and people come and bake at our house, and whatever as a rental they gave us certain part of the cooking, the baking they make. So we all carry, each of us carry a can and some of our clothes to run up to the ranch where we are now, Agana Heights. So the other neighbors, they don't have no place to go. They don't have no ranch. So some of them follow us, and we go to the ranch. It's just a small, it's not really a shack, but it's just a small, about one bedroom. At that time, there's not much bedroom in anybody's house. So then we were climbing up the hill. You know the Agana, where the Japanese tunnel now? We climbed through there, up to the hill, up to Agana Heights. We all walked, and that time, there's nothing decent road like now. But so everybody was crying, carrying their baby, carrying some food, and we get some of our clothes and rice, and we went to the ranch. And in the ranch where my grandmother is and my step-grandfather is, they have food in there. We have little bit of everything. We have couple of cows, carabao, chicken, pig, and they have few plants too. So when that day, we all went up that morning. We hide under the big trees because we have big trees. We hide when we hear the plane coming from Sumai, start bombing. Not too much in Agana. Sumai is the place that they tear apart. But then everybody was crying. They don't know where to go. Some of them don't have ranches like us. So some of them follow us. There's a relative of my grandmother in Anigua, so they all come to the ranch. So we all scoop in a small place. We sleep under the like a little cellar, little. So we put mat or something. We all sleep there until a couple of days, 3 days after that, the Japan people enter the island. But we hear the news that in Tumun somebody was killed by the Japanese, and some of them were died of heart problem, and it's terrible. So in 3 days the Japanese surrendered, and then we all went down to Agana, where the post office now. There's a 2-story. We have that place, and the Leary School is an old building. So all the people have to get their white sheets, like a flag for peace. So we all went to Agana, crowded of people. They're crying about what could they do. from then on, when the Japanese took over the island, we worked so hard. We have to raise our pig, raise our food, and we have to not too many clothes to wear. But we struggle washing by hand. We go down the river to wash if we don't have much water in Fonte. People goes there too. So that's the life during the Japanese time. We went in a year or so, we start going to Japanese school in Sinahanya. They sent us to, because they forced you to go to learn language. But people were scared because they abuse you. You go to every part where they guard, you have to bow your head down. And if you don't bow all the way down, they slap you. At school, my brother Greg, I, and all the Titlahis, all those people around, we grew up together. We usually go down to Sinahanya and walk. Morning, in a couple of hours, we go home, it's hot. But when we get in some area, there's some abas, there's some more fruit that you could eat. And those people won't bother you. They'll let you have something that we want to eat during hot days, you know. But then later on, after the school, the Japanese start building the air base now that we are using. That was built by the Japanese. There's no air base here before the war. Only the boat, the airplane is a fly ship, water and land. That's down in Sumay. That's the only plane they come in through that place. They fly down the water and then go to the port, like a little port. But we all work. Sometimes if we go to school, they give us a little lesson, and every day that you go to school, you have to bow your head to the sun. And if you don't do it all the way, they'll get you. The sensei, that's the teacher, they get you, they slap you in the face. So one time I didn't bow all the way to the sun, and the teacher saw me. So Uncle Greg, my brother, is kind of leading because he's fast in picking, pick up the Japanese wording. So he's got me. But I cannot do nothing because the teacher, the sensei, slapped her, tell her to bow again. So I did that. Then after that, couple of years after that, the American came in. And you know how we know that the American were coming? Uncle Greg has a friend, a Japanese soldier, not too far from our house. He goes there and he likes to be with the guys. So the Japanese knows how to speak little English. Watanabe. We don't. So Uncle Greg usually heard what the radio said. Because he usually turned the radio to the United States and let Uncle Greg hear that the Americans are coming back to fight the Japanese out. So it's kind of hard life. Because after we start having little something, when you have plant and pigs and chicken, the soldiers usually come down and either they steal it or they say, we're going to punish you if you don't give us what we have, what you have. So we usually hide our food. And during that time, nobody says this and that because especially the higher people that don't have any ranch, they go to the lower people so they can be fed. So the life isn't easy. But then when the American came back, that's the information we're getting from Uncle Greg. Uncle Greg was about 11 years old. He only speak very little English at that time because it's prohibited for you to be speaking English. But after the Americans start coming in, people again have to scatter, and they have a certain place to stay. Nobody's rich, nobody's, because all those rich people, they don't have planting to do, but the lower people usually give them some share. But we ate, my mother raised up us and let us plant. There's a group of people that they call it, what you call that? Forgot the name. All the young guys, like my oldest brother, they go join together. It's a certain group of people that do some planting for their family. So this week it's gonna be Uncle Greg and my brother, Jose, they all join to be a group of people that come this week and do some planting for them, and then the next week they do the planting for others. That's how, but hardly people get hungry. The only thing is when the war broke, the American came in, the Japanese were coming all to the ranches and get your food. Sometimes we hide our food. If you have pigs, you have to slaughter it, soak the meat, dry it, and we hide it. We have not much rice, but the Japanese people let the people on Guam plant some rice in Pili area and in Mauricio area. That's how they get their food, because they don't have supply from Japan because of this war. American came bombing the island. The Japanese told us all the Tugamanian people have to go to Banyangun or Talifofo in certain area. They want us to be there, all the Chamorros, because they planned to kill all the people. But it happened that God, the prayers were always praying no matter where we are. God knows what to do. So, when we were in Manengon, we built a little hut. You know the the coconut leaf. We built a hut to be in there. We squeeze in and nobody has no room, and we just go out and get for a bathroom, or we go and we have a certain area that you can put your doo-doo and then cover it with dirt. So then during that time, when we were in the Manengon, my mother always told us, we have to cook early because the plane is coming, the American plane is coming, and they start bombing anywhere. So when the Japanese know that the Americans are already coming in, they told us in Manengon, there's a little place right next to the river. There's a certain area that you could dig your hole like a bokobo, like the one in Naganya, but it's just dirt for everybody to be in there because they plan to kill us, but it don't happen. So when the Americans start coming in, our two brothers, my 18-year-old and my 27-year-old brother, they were down in the ranch where we used to stay, because the colonel of the Japanese guys, staying down there, and they were planting, they were raising pigs for them to eat, the soldiers, because sometimes they don't have supply because of this war. They cannot come back to the Japanese people cannot transfer anything down for their people to eat. So then when my two brothers was down there, they usually slaughter some pigs and something to bring us up to the Manengon. So early in the morning, what we do? Get up early, 5 o'clock in the morning. Try to build a little fire for you to cook something for the day. Before the sun is out, the plane will be there. So they told us, stop the fire. Because even if you don't eat all day, what else could you do? But go out there and climb coconut tree and things like that, you find something to eat. So it's not an easy life for us to be there. But my mother and ourselves, we are 12 kids at that time. Plus Charo is our adopted daughter. They carried Charo all the way from Agana to Tuhan, then up to Meninggon. And we speak English with her, but we don't get nobody here. But Charo now has family. But we have gone to hardship during that time. Everybody loves everybody because some people cannot make their life because they have no plan, no ranch, no, but people help together. But when the Americans start coming in, my two brothers came to Meninggon to give us supply of food. And my brother, Uncle Joe, there are three of them in the ranch, in the Nagana Heights, where they stay in a small bukungo. That my sister-in-law, Grace, my brother-in-law's sister, they were there. So when the Americans start coming in, our two brothers have to go back to help the Japanese people, the Japanese commander for the raising the food and for the soldier. So it is, you cannot forget anything like that. In the morning, we have to have a certain can or gallon to get the clean water right next to the riverside. But in order for you to get clean water, you have to go to that, like boat, they call it boat. It's spring water. I usually swim with my can, go under the water, cross to get some water for the clean water. Because when we were coming in Meninggon, and we were so tired, late night, we just go out, walk and walk and walk. And we walk from Agana Heights to Talifofo, then up to Meninggon. It is very, but we can't do nothing about it. Just have to, when somebody's sick, you have to either carry or let them stay for a few days and then come and take them back. But I remember my mother, she always tell us, you girls have to hide so the Japanese people won't take you. For, they call it katsu. Katsu means it's a whorehouse for women. They take you and you cannot say no. But we usually hide. Auntie Diding, Auntie Bang, they don't go out to work and things like that. For the Japanese, we let them hide in the jungle. With us, the rest of us, we go. And during that time, just before the American plane come in, we work in all the fields and we walk from Odot to Lampagu. We walk to the base, and sometimes they give us the dump truck and dump us in the Ghana, and then we walk home. But we have to go and work, because if they know that you're not working, they're going to get you, beat you up. And every time we go to work in the farm for the Japanese food and, for the states, for the soldier, they give us 1 cup of rice. For each family has 1 cup of rice. And we try to economize that because our rice is getting out. Then when the war, when the American came in July 1944, it happened that day that we are told to dig our tunnel to let the family stay in, because we have to hide in the tunnel. But that's not their intention. They intend to kill us out, get the machine gun and flush it over us right next to the river. But that don't happen. So one morning when my two brothers went to Agana Heights, they met this Japanese soldier that Uncle Brett knows, and he knows because he comes to my house, the ranch, and he told them, go back to your family, go back where your family is, because the American already coming in and they're gonna kill you. So there were 3 persons that's going to the Tuncancho house to do all the work. So one is Antonio Salas. He doesn't want to go and follow my 2 brothers. But my 2 brothers they don't want to go back because the Tuncancho told them, the colonel told them, make sure you go to your family or come back. But it happened that they only made that up in right next to Odo area when they were caught. They tied their hands, shoot them, and they cut the neck off. After the American came in, it happened that Auntie Grace, Uncle Joe, Uncle Everett were down in Agana. It's where our ranch is. There's a tunnel there that my brother built out for us to be there when the plane is coming in, the American bomb. So it happened that one day when the American came in early in the morning, here's a big army guys coming, and they told us, come on, let's go back, and we moved. Some people moved down to Agat, some moved down to the Ganya Cemetery, and some certain area. So with us, we went to Agat, and then we finally found out that my brother was killed. So my brother Joe, he's in the Navy before the war. He was in the Navy, so he has some Marines. My mother has been begging to find my 2 brothers. So it happened that my Uncle Joe, my brother, has all these Marines go with him, and they searched the area. They found them up in right next to the area. My 2 brothers was tied on the coconut tree, shot their head, and then chopped the neck. So my mother she is a very strong person. And then after the American came in, we all set up because we have the ranch and